Hi, I'm Terry Murphy, and welcome to the Women's Wisdom Network, where we source the wisdom of women. And we've got such a smart one today. As senior editor for Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate in the Men's Room with Murph, we want to bring resources to you. And Krisstina Wise brings an interesting perspective for women in money. She is a real estate mogul. She's a millionaire coach. She's an international speaker. She has started several multi-million dollar businesses that you've heard of: Paperless Agent, Good Life Luxury, and Wealthy Wealthy. And welcome the amazing, incomparable Krisstina Wise.
Oh, thank you, Terry. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure's all ours. One of the things that your bestseller, Falling for Money, is a romance novel for your bank account, which never thought of it quite that way. You've been named 100 of the most influential real estate leaders in the country and featured on USA Today, and a couple of things you might have heard of, like Evernote, Apple, and contextually because of your real estate technology. So you really don't generally find that many leaders and women in leadership that have technology and finance in the same vertical. So tell us what happened the day you almost died, because you were there struggling as your body was shutting down, and you went, wait a minute. I did it all wrong. Maybe I got it wrong. Thinking maybe you hope in that moment, especially after having children and building multi-million dollar companies, well, I did the best I could, and yet you had a complete aha moment. I want you to share that with our listeners and our viewers today, because it is such a pivotal story.
Well, what you're alluding to or referencing is, yeah, when I spent my entire career in the chase, what I call the chase of being more important, the chase of more accolades, the chase of the bigger identity, the chase of more fame. And no matter where I got financially or business wise, it was never enough. I'd just say I got stuck in that not enough hamster wheel, and just going, trying to always hit that next level, whatever that next level was. In other words, never being satisfied for where I was. And I was never even really present. I was always out in the future creating the next thing. And great that type of personality and drive did create a lot of success. But on my deathbed, what I realized was, oh my God, I'm dying. I haven't even lived yet. I missed the meaning of working and making money and having money. It's really to experience life and be present and create real memories and experiences. And I was just so full of remorse that, oh my gosh, why is it that I missed my entire life in that achievement game? So that was a big awareness for me that came out of that, just from more of a spiritual life context. We hear those stories that on your deathbed, you'll never care about that extra sale. We're like, yeah. But
Whatever.
yeah, but that was really the truth for me. And I just wanted another chance to do what I call a do-over. If I can do a do-over, I'll do it radically different. So that was one big piece, is to remember, from my point of view and from my own experiences, to remember that life is about experience. It's not about accomplishment. And that, not that accomplishment's bad, like as long as things are in the right order. At the same time, what happened to me is the only reason why I'm here today is because I'd studied money. I was really smart with it, and I'd accumulated net worth. I had some liquidity, and I was able to use that money. One, I had some passive income from assets that paid my bills while my business was disintegrating, since I was no longer a part of it and business partners were not acting appropriately. So, but I was still able to pay my bills, thank goodness, but also I was able to save my life. And part of that was I had the cash and I had the reserves to buy untraditional medicine and doctors and things that eventually diagnosed me and saved me. So it's this really interesting paradox that I realized was, on one hand, money is more having money, not making money, but having money is more important than anything. In my case, it saved my life. But life is not about the chase of money. Like, the chase is, one, that what nearly killed me, and two, there's no real meaning or joy. We always think it's at that next rung of the ladder. So that was that, is money matters more than anything, but it's not about the money. It's about life. And so that's really what came out of that, 2 year um, spiritual
Recovery.
journey. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that money matters more than anything, but it's not about the money. Number two is you must sacrifice your health to succeed, but you can't sacrifice your health for success. And we're so driven for that, especially women in money. There's a whole bizarre connection or not allowing of money or not visualizing it. And then the third thing you said is, I live my life at the intersection of these paradoxes. And so here's what I'd like to point out. You created this, as we all do. I mean, earlier in our lives, it's all about the accomplishment. We want to prove and we want to figure out who we are and all of those things. And you have maybe the energy to sacrifice health. But at some point, there's payback, which you realized. And women especially will labor under stress and just go, too bad, suck it up, make it happen. Not good. And so we don't give ourselves permission to be in that moment. And so those of you that are parents, you know, you've got these babies or grandbabies now, and you know that it's a flash of time as things change every day. And so for somebody who's watching this or hearing this, you talk about how do you 10x that? I mean, everybody, there's zillions of books on finance. And if you're in real estate, you know that leverage is a big important part of that. But going forward, what, you know, aside from getting the book, which I think everybody should get, what's your top takeaways from building wealth, besides the fact that you have the freedom and the resources to take care of things?
Yeah, it's a big question. There's a few things I would like to say there. One, it's if the money is a game and we're going to play it, is to understand that there's different strategies, there's different rules, but it's understanding that if money is a game, we need to learn how to play it and play it well. We need to learn the strategies, we need to learn the rules, and we need to learn how do we know when we win it. So what I love with women, I mean, I'm a single woman. So what I've built and what I'm doing is, you know, there's, you know, this is, I like to show what's possible, but I say we're the starting place. It's more metaphysical mindset or in desire related. So it's more on the emotional side of the spectrum versus the practical. And that's, we have to want it. So, something that I love for women to just own is their own financial sovereignty, meaning financial independence and sovereignty and real financial power as women, female financial power. And it's a desire that we want to want. And then, you know, this little thing in the back of our head might be, well, I can't do that, or I don't like money, or I'm not good with numbers, or I'm not good at math, whatever that programming is, which is all bullshit, by the way. Um,
Really?
but it's just, even if it may be addressing that, but at the end of the day, it's the desire that I show up and I can take care of myself, I can take care of my children, I can take care of my family, and I know what's required to do that. And that may sound intimidating at first, but the truth is it's actually not that difficult once we have the desire and we go learn a few things and start putting a few things into play. It's not rocket science. You know, I think the financial industry makes it seem like it's rocket science, but it's not.
Well, let's bring up something that you just mentioned, and that is financial independence gives you emotional independence. And having done 247 interviews with women in business on relationships, so often we think, depending on our age group and our conditioning and our belief system, that you have to have a man in your life to be financially successful. Or you'll hear in a lot of the interviews, which was on the process of behavioral interviewing to select a partner for your business. For your personal life, is that you know, you can succeed if you have you know, somebody who's making money. And the fact is when you release the responsibility to only yourself and you focus on it as if you can have it, which is the permission piece. So being female, both male and female can learn about the strategies of finance. Anybody can learn about that, but when you focus on it, obviously you advance your skill set, your knowledge, your awareness. And once you start growing that independence, then you're choosing on a whole different level of how to build the tapestry of your life. If you want a relationship, if you don't, if you want to adopt a dog, if you don't, if you want to go on this wild 1 month vacation, because you're not limited by what you think are resources. And when you study money, and I think you mentioned this early on in metaphysical, it is an energy, right? So just like you let negative energy into your life, you can let positive energy into your life. And so I have not read the book, but I will study it. And Falling for Money, a romance novel with your bank account, says that it shifts the energy from I can't have it and it's going down to it gets better every day. And that in itself is better for allowing. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and the title of that book, the I even got a lot of a little bit of negative feedback when I named it that, because like, you can't do love and money, you can't do, make money of romance. I'm like, why not? And so I got a little flack for that, but it's like, no, because my intention with the book was to invite the readers to want to learn to love their money in a healthy way. I mean, if we're in a romantic relationship, there's dysfunctional romantic relationships and there's very functional and healthy romantic relationships. So we can have same thing, like the relationship with our money can be very dysfunctional. And think about, for example, if you were in a romantic relationship, you neglected it, you neglected him, you avoided him, you didn't talk to him, you were afraid of him, all these different things, that's probably not going to lend itself to be a really healthy, loving relationship. And because love is an action. So something I like to say is money's not something you have, but money's something you do. So when you really love something, you want to spend time, you want to get better, you want to do the work, even when you don't want to do the work. And so that's the idea, is that falling in love with our money, that we give it attention, we give it time, we give it gratitude. We're in the nature of being dissatisfied, that we're always looking for what we don't have as opposed to being very grateful for what we do have. So we can start building and developing this nurturing, loving, kind relationship with our money, that I'm so grateful for what you do for me, and when you show up, and that causes us to want to spend more time. Now we're not bringing fear into the equation. We're replacing fear of money or any with love of that. And so that's what that it's a romance novel for your bank account, is to fall in love with your money and develop a really attentive relationship. And one of those universal laws that says, whatever you focus on expands. Money's no exception. If we're not focusing on it, it just disappears and evaporates. Have you ever wondered, like, where did all the money go? I thought that was and it's gone. Like, it falls through our, it does. It's like vapor. So the only way to keep money from turning into vapor is that we give it time and attention, and it loves to stick around. Just like, if you have a dog, for example, and you take care of the dog and spend time with the dog and train the dog and love the dog and feed the dog healthy and take it on walks, you're gonna have this pet that just wags its tail when it walks in the door and just so kind and just showers you with that return of love. But if you neglect your dog or abuse your dog or those type of things, you're probably not get that same type of attention back. So money's like, I either call it kind of a really good lover, or like a really great pet that when you love it, it really loves you back.
And I think this is a great opportunity for us to bring in that women, because we're so adaptive and we're so collaborative, that we think that if we have money, someone else doesn't. And it's the laws of abundance and scarcity. When in fact, let's just say that you have money to do what you want to do. And let's just use something that's kind of vain, like getting a massage or getting your hair done or whatever. But you don't realize you're contributing to someone else's empowerment to make a living, because you're putting it out there. So if you look at it as an energy that comes in, serves you, serves other people, serves you, serves other people, you're giving. And I think at the heart, a lot of women want to feel like they're giving. So what I think is real important that you've mentioned is that it gives you emotional, it gives you emotional area to make better choices. So you would never, like you said, be in a dysfunctional relationship, because at some point, money can't buy anything. And lots of people die with lots of money. What does that do for them? So you can make money and be philanthropic if you have an issue with that from some kind of a belief system. You can contribute to the betterment and empowerment of others in your community, in your life, in the world. You have taken your experiences, which were rather extreme. I mean, you had worked yourself literally into death, which we all talk about, but not everybody's faced with that. And in those last moments, you were thinking to yourself, come on, I got something better to do here. And you shared it in a way that is engaging, that is tactical, so people know what to do next. And you also offer coaching and consulting and speaking. Tell us about what other opportunities there are besides just reading the book.
Well, a book is a great starting place because it just really lines out a different way to think and relate to your money. And yeah, money is energy. Money can be energy, but it's not energy on its own. So money's only energy when it's flowing. So that's, I teach the concept of cash flow. It's like how you flow your money, and where you flow your money matters. And so, but most of us don't know how to flow it or where to flow it. So we keep ourselves strapped month to month, commission to commission, whatever that is. And that's that hamster wheel that can last a lifetime. So the only way to get out of off that hamster wheel is to radically have a different relationship energetically, how we relate and move our money. And that can be learned. And to go back to the female financial power piece, it's power is a feeling, when you just feel great and powerful and energetic and you're on your game, and it's just a beautiful feeling. And we're all meant to live in our power, to live into our potential. When we maximize our potential, that's our power. And financial power just means we have the opportunity to make choices. We can make different decisions because we own that power. And but usually as women, we give it away. I've given it away so many times, and it's like, why do I give my power away? And part of that's my financial power away. And that's been a big part of my learning. And I think so much of that comes from, the Cinderella stories or the Harlequin romance novels, all these things. And even though we're strong, independent women, we're successful, we work our, butts off and everything, we still in the back of our mind carry this historical narrative that you're not good with numbers, you're not good with money, or the man's going to come save you, deep in our psyche. So when we're aware of that, it's like I teach, like, just own your own financial power, whatever that is. The amount doesn't matter. It's just the ownership of that. Then if you're independent and single, great. You can take care of yourself. You know what to do. You know your numbers. You rock your money. And again, the number doesn't matter. It's just what you do with what you have. And it constantly, as we're all growing and becoming as selves, our money grows and becomes with us in that growth process. So it's less about the amount and more about that relationship and dance on a day-to-day basis. And so that's that piece. And now if we're in a relationship, for example, or marriage, if both individuals come in as financially sovereign and say, hey, I own my money accountability, responsibility, or understanding, and now we choose to share it, we do it separately. It doesn't matter how we coexist those monies together, but we're both coming to the table with nobody's here to save anybody else. We're both bringing in our own power to the equation. And it's a radically different way to approach and just, work your money, that can be very beautiful and spiritual. And money, what I found to be true is that it's as equal, it's these on the metaphysical side, it's the energetic, the frequency, like that's why if we're always dissatisfied, we're going to be low frequency. If we're really grateful and in love when we are with our money, that's high vibration. So a frequency and vibration standpoint, the abundance side, very metaphysical, but we have to clean up a lot of old programming to raise our vibration when it comes to money, because we're really trapped in this. Money doesn't grow on trees, or girls aren't good with money, or dad does the books, or you're not enough, or whatever that programming is. So that we have to do a lot of the cleanup, but that's on the metaphysical side. The relationship love piece, that's all emotion. That's that type of emotional energy. And really just our overall mindset, just, the mindset, there's a universal law that says, there's a universal money law that says, if you are comparing yourself and you're upset with somebody has, to think by them having it, you don't have it, you can't have. So it's only through abundance of, like, you having yours doesn't take away from mine having mine.
Excellent
And it's a
point.
place to get. So that's all in the metaphysical, and that's an important piece. And it takes some work because we have limiting beliefs and mindsets that we've established. What I've studied is that we've developed our mindset by the time we're 10 years old. So many of us are walking around with our 10-year-old money mindset, still making those types of decisions as a 10-year-old that came from what our parents did with money. So all of that needs to be looked at and worked on and cleaned up for most of us, unless we had great parents that, money was a very easy, healthy topic on the table. The other side is skill set. Like, money really is a skill. It's a knowledge base. It's like, it's like a pilot. You can't just go fly a plane and successfully get that thing on and off the ground. Or a doctor, you can't just easily cut somebody open and start to know how to doctor. So you go learn it, and it's very obvious that, oh, if I want to be a doctor, I need to go learn things that doctors learn. Oh, if I need to be a pilot, I need to go learn to be a pilot. It's not obvious in the landscape of money. It's like, oh, there's this whole skill set that if I want to be good at money, I need to go study money. But again, the great thing about money, like relative to these other things that people desire to be good at, money is so easy to learn and break down these different pieces. And it's very patterned. So, like the Rubik's Cube, I remember the first time I did a Rubik's Cube, it seemed impossible, like, and then maybe a lot of people will be saying, oh, it's impossible for girls to do Rubik's Cubes, that requires some math or something. And it took a while to learn that, but just studying and studying and studying. And next thing you know, you put that Rubik's Cube together, and anybody can put a Rubik's Cube. Then I started doing it with a blindfold and these different things. But at first I thought there's no way to do a Rubik's Cube. But the thing is there's a model, there's maps. Once you follow the map, anybody can do a Rubik's Cube. You just follow the instructions. Money has a rule book. Money has these instruction books. Money is all patterned and planned out, but we never know that this is a truth, a reality. So we never go study it. So to answer your question in that long-winded answer is that my book's a great starting place. Like I said, it's just an introduction. And then I have a money school that's called Sovereignty Academy, which is learning how to build financial sovereignty and independence and freedom through, learning the model. That is everything that we should have learned in school about money, but they didn't offer that class.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just going to say that besides women, people in general don't invest in learning about certain skill sets. One is negotiation. We know everybody thinks they know how to negotiate. They really don't. And it's depends on the philosophy you use. But then money, on the other hand, when are we taught money? I mean, almost never. I mean, I'm a big fan of junior achievement. They in the day when you could get together, they literally set these sixth graders up with running a business for a day and having a balance sheet at the end of the day. And they'd have these little coves, and one would be a postman and one would be a hardware store and whatever. So they learned the economics behind pricing and budgeting and whatever. We don't get much of that. And so I think your Sovereign Academy, is that an online network? Is it it's online? And tell us how we would find that.
Yeah, sovereigntyacademy.com. It's an easy place to go, but it's mostly online. I designed it. I call it the money school. I designed it exactly like if you're going to go down to your local college and say, I'm tired of beating my head against the wall on this money thing, like no matter what, every single month now, year after year, I just thought I'd be farther ahead by now. I just thought it would feel different. I thought I wouldn't be in this rat race or just having to do the grind every single day at this stage in my life or career. So it's like, so I'm going to go down, they're offering this semester down at the local college. I'm going to go take that semester class. So I designed it like that. So it's online learning. And it says, I'm the lecturer, I'm the professor. And then there's homework. So you do your homework and week after week. And at the end, it's kind of there's a quiz and a test, but nothing to be scared of. But it's all designed. Go ahead.
How many weeks is it? I'm sorry.
12 weeks. 12 weeks, same as a semester.
12 weeks.
It's like 12 of content and 13 total. But that way, by the end of it, you just learn the life skill of money and like I said, the complete structure and system, the universal laws and principles that you have to follow. It's like gravity. We've heard of gravity. There's a reason why we don't let our 2-year-olds on the top of a 20-story building walking around without some type of protection, right? Because they don't know. They're like, well, that looks fun, and they're going to go over the edge because they don't understand the law of gravity. But the law of gravity, Mother Nature doesn't care that your 2-year-old doesn't understand the law of gravity. It's just it's truth, it's fixed, it's reality. And so we just gonna live by the consequence of that. Well, what we don't know, and there's all these universal laws, and money's just a fractal system of all the laws. So, but we think that it doesn't apply. But one of those with money is just understanding that there are these very important rules that if we don't, and laws that if we're not abiding by them, we're going to go off the edge of the building and we're going to self-sabotage. And we're making mistakes. It's keeping us stuck just out of naivete, just out of ignorance of these operational laws that are always at play, that don't care if you don't know them or not.
Exactly. So it's a law of consequence. I mean, when you look at a SWOT analysis, you know what your strengths are, you have your perceived weaknesses, but the opportunities are where it's at, because you take those weaknesses and you go, what's possible? And so sovereigntyacademy.com, wealthy, spell wealthy for us, will you?
Yeah, wealthy is like money wealth, Wealth, and it's wealthy, Wellthy. And that brand came out of the near death experience of money's meant to be spent. So I teach you how to spend 100% of everything you make. It's not about abundance. I mean, it's not about budgeting or restriction, or this is about abundance, growth, anything's possible, really visioning out and architecting like how much money's enough. And then we create a plan to get there. So, um, so it's a very different way, a different approach to money. And going through the school just sets all that up.
So listen, if you're listening to this or hearing this or watching this, bottom line is you can improve where you are right now today when you give it attention and the right execution. And going to sovereigntyacademy.com is one way. And Falling for Money, a romance novel with your bank account, is also proactive. And imagine what we can do for the people that we mentor, our girls and boys for that matter. Krisstina, thank you so much for joining us. If somebody wanted to contact you, what's the best way to do that?
You know what, the best way is just my name, Krisstina.com, Krisstina.com. And I have there's a free digital copy of my book there if anybody wants it. Also, I have a webinar where I teach these 5 truths of money, and then I have a downloadable. So if anybody just wants some free stuff to get started, that's a great place to go. My podcast is Wealthy, and then Sovereignty Academy is the money school.
So, creating a new habit, ladies and gentlemen, to hear from someone who has figured out how to get there, and then you have not. So basically, she's providing the Siri to get there. So you have these options. I would encourage you. And Krisstina, I'm just going to tell you, I think we need more Krisstina. And I'm thinking that maybe you could be a regular contributor to the Women's Wisdom Network, because if we spread the word and people become more financially empowered, less stress, more joy, more gifts to the people that we can share that wealth with, as well as people that depend on us for their livelihood. So I'm hoping you'll join us again soon. I'm Terry Murphy for the Women's Wisdom Network. We love profiling powerful women, especially when they're beautiful and talented, and ferociously talented in this case. Krisstina Wise, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.